Hello wrestling fans, this is Tom Collihew with what seems to be the usual Thursday video by now. So there'll be a little bit of news about Cain Velasquez, about Sasha Banks and Bayley, a little bit about WrestleMania and the Saudi Arabia show, and your next Undertaker match when it is to be expected. I apologise if I look a little tired this time, but I have been to a lot of NXT UK over the past weekend. I was at TakeOver, I was also taking part in media on the Saturday and the Sunday beforehand, which obviously means that things have been a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, and I've not had the most full nights of sleep. I also watched Raw live, which, if you're not in the UK, is a 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. deal. I work a full-time job. I am up at 6 o'clock, so I did not get much sleep that night. I'm probably still going to watch SmackDown. It was a great show. Got to have roundtable discussions with Triple H and William Regal. Those will of course be up on Sportskeeda for people's enjoyment soon. I also took some pictures with Triple H and with William Regal. Hopefully, if I'm any good at editing, they will be appearing on the screen as we speak. If you just saw my face during that, I'm not any good at editing. We're just going to have to accept that. Cain Velasquez has officially announced himself for the Royal Rumble via the medium of tabloid journalism. He declared that he will be involved, and he's looking forward to having some encounter with Brock Lesnar. That is, of course, the plan at this point in time. Cain Velasquez is the ideal challenger from the WWE for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. They don't believe Tyson Fury is ready for that particular spot just yet, but they are starting to believe that Cain Velasquez might be. We'll see how that plan plays out, but at the moment, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman are, of course, on a major mission to get as much hatred as they possibly can, so that whoever eliminates Brock, whoever that might be, Cain Velasquez, Roman Reigns, Rusev, whoever it may be, gets at least a little bit of a massive pop. Yes, I said a little bit of a massive pop. You'll get it. I hope so. We'll see what happens in that regard, but Velasquez versus Lesnar is still the plan for WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania, when should we next expect to see The Undertaker? Will it be WrestleMania? Will he appear this year as he did not last year? No. If the news coming out of WWE at the moment is to be believed, The Undertaker will be appearing in Saudi Arabia next, and then after that probably appearing in Saudi Arabia. It is very unlikely at this moment that The Undertaker will be ready for a match at WrestleMania. He has a very stringent and long-term system for exercising and working out into a peak condition for his matches. He's obviously not the youngest of men. But if he wants to deliver to the standard that he believes he is capable of, and which I think we've all seen that he is capable of, he needs to train in a certain way. If he's going to be at Saudi Arabia, he simply cannot be at WrestleMania afterwards based on that regimen. He wouldn't be peak, let's say that. So, it sounds like he will be at Saudi Arabia instead of WrestleMania once again. I reported on Sportskeeda today that John Cena does not intend, or at least hopes not to be forced into a situation where he has, to overtake Ric Flair in World Championship reigns. This is news that came quite recently to me, but I've had a lot of discussions with people in the locker room about things that have been happening, locker room morale and everything there. And this is one of the things that came out. John Cena is in a mission at the moment to put over anyone he can in his sparse appearances. We know he hasn't appeared a lot recently. I would love to see more of him. I was hoping we'd get a Kofi Kingston versus John Cena match when Kofi was champion. That obviously did not happen. So as much as I'd love to see more of him, it seems clear that the man himself just wants to put people over. He doesn't want any more World Championship runs, and really he doesn't want any more championship runs unless he gets something like the US Title Open Challenge again. That worked out pretty well for everybody. Sasha Banks against Bayley is still the plan for WrestleMania as far as I can tell. It's sort of the only big money match in the SmackDown women's roster, which is a shame because a lot of people simply haven't been built as effectively as I feel they could. Carmella should be a challenger at this point. She does have pedigree. It's a shame she's not really been involved, but I'm sure she will be involved moderately soon. Other than that, Alexa Bliss is the only person who could feasibly be involved. It could potentially be a triple threat, but I do think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are going to be needed in the tag championship match. So Sasha Banks against Bayley seems likely. Sasha Banks still, of course, an outsider for the Royal Rumble. Because Royal Rumbles in general, because you've got two different brands now, you can have someone win the Rumble and then the next night on Raw or the following weekend on SmackDown, you can have the storyline set up for the other brand. So, for example, you could have Sasha win and then Baszler attack Becky Lynch the next night on Raw. You still get the same outcome. So Sasha Banks is still a possibility, if a remote one. There is a disappointment amongst WWE management that they haven't managed to make that match happen yet. This is something they really want to see happen. This is something both women really want to see happen. And it could be sort of a crowning achievement for Bayley, who has been up and down on the roster so far. Now being in a position where I don't write for PW Torch anymore, I don't write up predictions. I have nowhere to write them. Other people do them for Sportskeeda and for Daily DDT, and I don't want to take away from those people. So there will be a podcast on Sportskeeda. I'll also do a roundup of those predictions on here, probably on the Saturday before the Royal Rumble. So stay tuned for that. In the future, I'm going to be looking to do a few more interviews, potentially a grassroots level, indie performers in the UK, maybe some personalities, for example, journalists, referees, something like that. People who I feel deserve a bit of spotlight should get a bit of spotlight from me going forwards. That's my plan. That's what I hope to do. But you'll still get news content first and foremost. My idea is that I'll do 4 or 5 minutes of news and then an interview afterwards. It'll be pre-recorded, stuck in the edit, so you still get both things. I do want to send a couple of final thank yous before I sign off. I want to thank Steve and Larson from the Going In Raw podcast. I definitely have some subscribers sent my way from them. Thank you very much to them and the shout out that they gave me. I really do appreciate it. It's confusing to me that I have so many people behind me, especially when it's people that maybe I haven't met or interacted with as much as I would like. So thank you very much, Steve and Larson, or Larson and Steve, depending on how confusing that may be to some people to hear them the other way around. But I do just want to send a thank you to them. The staff at Daily DDT as well, Kevin and Jam, they're just amazing people. They have an incredible writing team. They've done me the world of good when it comes to YouTube as well. They've always been supporting me, so I want to send a thank you there. And of course, what has become a usual thank you to the Sportskeeda team, who've had my back in every possible way, and have of course been the ones to send me to NXT UK, where I got to watch TakeOver, got to meet the people I got to meet and interview the people I got to interview. Hopefully you'll be seeing more of that very soon on the Sportskeeda channel. Thanks very much for joining me here. I hope you learned something you didn't know, or at least enjoyed the video. Please do click like. That does encourage more views and encourages me to keep going. So far so good, I've got to say. Thanks for tuning in.